thinking about making the move with your family to the Olympic City, it's Colorado Springs. Well, stick around. We're going to talk about the top 5 reasons to raise a family here in Colorado Springs. You don't want to miss number 5, so stick around.
All right, everybody. So, hey, as you know, we are all about where to eat, work, live, play in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Today, we're going to talk about the top 5 things you should know if you have a family thinking about moving to Colorado Springs. So, number 1, for me personally, would be outdoor activities.
Yeah.
It's why most people move to Colorado Springs. It's one of the best things about the city. And if you have kids, man, it doesn't matter if they're little tiny tykes all the way up to high school age. There's always going to be something outside for the kids to do. And then if you're active outdoors parents as well, man, it's just going to make it even better. So outdoor activities for me is number 1.
Yeah.
What do you think about outdoor stuff, man?
Oh, man, it's so abundant here, and the opportunities are so abundant and ample here. You walk out of your front door and you're never more than 10, 15 minutes from a park.
Yeah,
really.
For sure. Yeah.
So like everything that comes with a park, all the playgrounds and open spaces and field, we have something like, it's like 3,000 acres in the city of like parks and open spaces and all that stuff. Not to mention all the trails we have spread out across the city. There's something to do here year round, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, all the wintertime activities, summertime, fall, spring, there's always something to do here. There's always something family friendly to do here, whether that's a family ski day or just a sledding day or
whatever it is.
A family hike or a backpacking trip. So I love it for sure.
I think you hit the nail on the head too. I wasn't even quite thinking about that. I was just thinking about like general outdoor activities like trail running, mountain biking, all that stuff. But the parks. So if you do have little kids, like I have a 6-year-old, and man, like we've went to a ton of parks around town. Yeah, obviously, like every little 6-year-old, he loves slides and swing sets. So no matter what part of town you live in, north, south, central, east, west, there's going to be a nice sized community park, maybe like a county regional park if you're in a little bit more rural area. But it's going to have all the stuff like you mentioned. It's going to have the playground equipment, sports fields. So if you want to go play ultimate frisbee or whatever it is, your kid's probably going to be having soccer practice on those fields, but it's all over town. So it's not just those like adventure sports, outdoor stuff. It's anything that you want, family friendly. You're going to be able to find something to do outside.
I mean, speaking of outside, here we are outside Ivy Wild School right now.
Yeah.
Another really great family friendly place. They got a wonderful brewery in here.
Yeah.
Axe in the Oak, a really, really good distillery here.
Because kids love booze.
Kids love booze, man.
They have other stuff too.
Yeah, they do. They got a playground, a little cabana area, barbecue spot, the principal's office for like lunches and coffees and things like that, and all this outdoor space out here. This is just like one little small segment built out of an old school in the city. So perfect example of where we're at right now. Safety and crime is number 2. I think it's actually a really safe city, and I think there's a misnomer out there that it isn't.
Okay.
So over the last decade, population has grown by 17%.
Okay.
What usually happens with population growth?
Crime rates are going to go up.
Crime rates are going to go up, right? Not the case in Colorado Springs. Interestingly enough, crime went down 9% over the last decade. So doesn't sound like a huge number, but over 32,000, almost 33,000 incidences of all recorded crime.
Okay.
Down to, I believe it was 26?
Sure, math.
Something like that. 26 or 29,000 incidences. So, yeah, 29,000, yeah. So it doesn't sound like it's a huge number, but for a city to have a population increase and have crime go down.
No, that is. I honestly didn't even realize that myself.
Yeah, like that's a big deal right there.
That is,
especially when you have such a big and such a rapid population increase.
Yeah.
So I really do honestly feel like it's a safe city to raise a family in.
And I will say, like, I don't know the stats as well as what you do on kind of the crime data stats, but I will say just for myself, having lived here for, 20 years now with a family, I feel wonderfully safe in Colorado Springs. Like I've said it before, I've said it to clients when they come in town, when they're talking about where they're going to look for housing, that, you know what, there's only a couple spots in town that I really don't want my wife and my 6-year-old walking around at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Every city has that though. I don't care what city it is. So overall, Colorado Springs, I feel is very, very safe. I've never felt bad walking around Colorado Springs. Like I said, there's areas in it. I'm willing to bet if you look at a crime map, and we highly encourage everybody that's thinking about Colorado Springs to take a look at the data, kind of do your own due diligence and research. But I bet if you look at those maps, it's probably localized in a couple areas.
For sure.
like, hey, cars get broken into in the nicest neighborhoods. A lot of kind of the more violent crime stuff, I bet it's probably kind of in a couple areas. That'd be my guess. I don't know.
No, I was gonna say, like, it's not to say that there's no crime here and it's like a perfect utopia. That just doesn't exist anywhere.
Right, yeah.
But overall, to me, it does feel like a very safe city as well to raise a family in. So
yeah, I would agree. I feel Colorado Springs feels like a very safe city compared to, and I've lived in a lot of different places across the world, actually. And yeah, I feel totally safe here. No issues at all from my standpoint. Do your own due diligence, though.
That's right. Number three. Before I move on, make sure you stick around again for number 5. If you got school-age kiddos,
especially if you have kids,
if you got school-age kiddos, you want to hear that one. Growth and opportunity. We are growing at a rapid rate here. What are some of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends. Like, growth is always like, it's this two-edged sword, right? Everybody's like, oh man, there's all these new restaurants and new job opportunities and all this expansion, which is awesome. And then at the same time, it's like, oh, but it's more congested now. My favorite little local place I can't get into on a Friday night without a reservation now because everything's growing. So it's a double-edged sword, but I believe, especially for a young growing family, that growing with the city of Colorado Springs is pretty awesome because now you have more opportunity for kids' activities. Like, let me think of an example. Like, your little kiddo wants to start jujitsu. Well, now instead of like one jujitsu gym in Colorado Springs, there's about 20 of them. So you just have a lot more options as the city continues to grow. There's, as the population grows, it can support more commercial and more industry. So it provides a lot more opportunity for things to do for families. And I think on the job front, for me personally, is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, big time. I mean, it's like 740,000 people now in El Paso
County.
And I think within the county, there's like 330 some odd thousand employed. Now you might say, oh, that's 50% employment rate. Well, we're not accounting for like employment age people, children, things like that. We actually have a super, super low unemployment rate here, which contributes to a really stable economy, a really healthy local economy. I often feel like whenever we go through like the national ebbs and flows, like we're honestly kind of sheltered.
We're kind of insulated from that.
And a lot of that comes from the industries that we do have here. I mean, obviously defense and aerospace kind of technology industries are massive here. I think contributes to like over 40% of our GDP. Local
GDP, I can believe that. Because we have 5 major military installations here. So not just military, but like you said, those industries, defense industry, aerotech, like all that stuff that supports the military as well. That's a huge chunk of the economy.
Tourism is huge here, and that honestly remains pretty steady throughout the year, which again supports like the local economy. Healthcare is massive here, and it's just continuing to grow.
Right?
And with that, we're seeing wage growth. Pretty steady wage growth, honestly.
I think
over the last probably 4 years, I've seen it go from like 72,000 in the median household to over 80,000 in the median
That's what I was going to mention is like, I feel the city is growing economically in a very good way in the fact that there's a lot of the jobs that are being created or businesses that are coming to Colorado Springs are quality, high-paying jobs. So like there's a lot of IT jobs now too. Space Force just decided the final decision to leave Space Force headquarters here out on Peterson Space Base, which sounds weird to say, but Peterson Air Force Base. So they're high-paying, quality jobs. And then, of course, you have those, as we continue to grow, you have more retail and service industry jobs as well. But it's not as if it's all like tourism, retail, service-based industry where everybody has to be a waiter or a bartender. There's a ton of growth in the high-paying job sectors, and I think that's the best thing about our economy compared to other cities across the country.
Absolutely. And while we're on that point, I didn't even think about this originally. It just came in my mind though. But as we're talking about economics and things like that, a couple other points I want to make as far as like finances go. I think property taxes do relatively remain pretty low here as opposed to the rest of the country.
For sure,
I think we're under 1% of property tax being taxed, which is awesome.
Assessed value being taxed.
Assessed value being taxed. So that's been absolutely fantastic. And then there's one other one.
Income tax in the state of Colorado is pretty low. It's only like 4.2% or something like that. So compared nationally, it's pretty darn low.
Oh, and like while we're sitting here talking about family-friendly places to raise your family, it's like a lot of other places in the country that are so coveted for that reason are going to have a really, really high cost of living.
Yeah.
And while it has gotten more expensive here in the Springs, really we're running about 5 to 6% above the national average for cost of living, which when all things considered, you talk about Denver, that's like 16% above us.
Right, yeah.
You talk about San Francisco, some of the big California cities, like it gets a lot more expensive when you want to be in those places.
No, definitely. So I think, it's 5 to 6% more expensive cost of living, but it's more than 5 to 6% better than other places.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're paying a little bit more, but it's just a lot, in my opinion, a lot better than most other cities that I've been in.
Yeah.
And also most of the cost of living, it's housing related.
Yeah.
So for us, what we do, helping people buy homes every day, it is kind of a tough pill to swallow. But when you look at all the other factors that are actually lower than national averages, yes, housing costs a little bit more, but look where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got to do it, man.
This is our beach right here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the mountains back there. So, but yeah, that's number 3. Growth and opportunity is absolutely fantastic here. And I don't think it's slated to stop growing.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Number 4. Reason. Move to Colorado Springs with your family. It's a big, small city.
Yeah.
What do we mean by that, Sam?
Well, we mean it's a big city with a small city feel.
Or
in my opinion.
Or yes, that
or
is
it
right.
a small city with a big city feel?
It's
a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both. I think what we're trying to say here is that it's what is typically known as like a B city.
Yeah.
It's not a Denver, Chicago, New York, LA, San Diego, pick another A city, right?
Yeah.
It's a B city. So Denver, 60 miles up the road, has all the stuff you want to do. Every major sporting league, Denver's got a team.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
The Rapids. I forgot about the Rapids for a second there, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
MLS.
Dude, even the Mammoths.
That's right. Cross, man. Yeah. So all that stuff you want to do, like major concerts. Taylor Swift was at Mile High Stadium. Come on, man. Like everything you want to do is in Denver, but we're just far enough away that you kind of get that little bit smaller town feel. And like you said earlier, man, Springs is growing.
Yep.
It doesn't feel like, Wichita, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel like a Denver or Chicago. It's not that just crazy hecticness all the time.
No. I really don't think I have. If I have to go one end of the city to the other in any direction, city of, almost 600,000 people now, I don't think it takes me more than 30 minutes.
I was going to say 20, 30 minutes. Yeah, max.
Yeah, it's really not that bad as much as I complain about it. And I will continue to complain about it.
Yes.
Because we do have our traffic pattern issues, I'll admit. But it is a big, small city. And the other thing I want to mention is a sense of community here.
That's a good one, man. Yeah.
Colorado Springs really started as like a military community. We've always had all these military installations here for the longest time. So I feel like that's like a really good, like kind of rooted foundation of a sense of community. But now as we've grown into kind of a new city, honestly, the city's making a big branding push as like the Olympic city.
We've got Olympic City, USA.
Olympic History Museum here. We've got the Olympic Training Museum here and Olympic Training Center.
Yeah.
We are really big on that, and really big on that as like kind of a cultural identity. I think about other events, like we have our Labor Day liftoff. Man, when we were out there this year, there had to be 20,000 people out there, 30,000
balloon
people.
festival, hot air balloon.
Yeah, it was awesome. Territory Days. I don't know if you saw this recently. They got a Briar Fest up in Briargate where it's like a whole fair just for this like one little neighborhood and one little like community. The Pikes Peak Ascent and like the Pikes Peak
Bus Rodeo.
Hill rodeo.
Yeah.
Like there's so much history and culture here that isn't just rooted in the military. That like the sense of community here and the sense of like identity as a city is really awesome to be a part of.
No, I totally agree. Yeah.
And continue to watch growing.
Yeah. And I think, as we talk about like the big, small city, whatever it is, big, small city, it goes back to those activities and things that there are to do with your family. So now like the city's big enough that we have like the Switchbacks, we've got a soccer stadium downtown Colorado Springs now. You've got the the Vibe.
The Vibe.
Used to be the Sky Sox.
Yeah.
The Vibe is a minor league baseball team that plays out on the east side of town, talking about building the stadium downtown for them as well. So as the city's grown a little bit, again, you don't have to deal with the big city jibber jabber, but you still have a ton of activities and stuff to do. And again, we're so fortunate because like if you think like I don't want to live in Chicago, I want to live in like a B city. There's nothing close by. It's just a suburb of Chicago. Yeah. But here we're so fortunate that we have Denver 60 miles up the road. We don't have to deal with it every day, but we can go up there and do anything we want to if it's not in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, and be back here in an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, back here in an hour. So definitely the benefits of that big city feel and the relationship with the A city of Denver. Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
I think we got one more.
Huge. Number 5.
If you
it's a big one.
Stuck around for this one and you have kids, it's important.
Yeah, it's super important. Been waiting on this one. What's number 5?
Okay, so number 5 is that Colorado is a choice, as a program called Choice in School. I don't know if that's the official term for it. Let me explain it to you. What it is, the way I grew up, and I think what most places in the country are like, whatever school district your house is geographically located in, like that's the school you're going to go to. You can't go across town to the other school. Like you're going to the school where you live. Yeah. Colorado isn't that way. You can actually select any school that you want to, any public school or charter school, and you can go, you can put your kiddo on the list to get in that school. And depending on how much supply and demand there is, your kid will get into that school or maybe not. But that's a huge benefit for the people that are extremely concerned about, I want my kids to only go to the best schools available. Yeah. But I mean, for whatever reason, we won't get into that today, but let's face it, a lot of times, the really good school districts are in areas where homes cost more.
I was going to say the same thing.
And then where homes cost a lot less, or maybe even like middle of the road, maybe the district's not the best. Those schools in that area aren't the best. Maybe the district's okay, but that specific elementary school is not the best.
Right.
But here you have the opportunity where you're like, hey, my budget is $500,000.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about, man, is that school district okay? Like you can take your kid. And now I will say there are some downfalls, right? You got to drive them to school. There's no bus that's going to come out of district to pick up your kid. But
if you got older kids, that's a good point to make too. If you got older kids that are into sports, if you're choicing them into a different school than they've been going to, that is going to affect like whatever season they might be in. They got to be in the other school long enough to actually play that sport at that school. That's something to consider as well.
Definitely on the athletic side.
Yeah.
So you've kind of got this benefit of I don't have to be so stressed about the school and where as it relates to where I'm going to live at. And I think a lot of people, I mean, we deal with this, I won't say every day, but weekly, we chat with people that are thinking about Colorado Springs, and school district is a very, very important thing for them. Quality of schools, I should say. And a lot of people don't realize that, I don't have to live in that district. I can live somewhere else and request to have my kid in that school. You can. And that, it relieves a lot of that pressure of like, oh man, okay, now I don't have to stretch my budget as much as I thought I did because I really wanted to go to this school. Or hey, I like this district, but man, this elementary, I'm not reading the best stuff about, so I'm gonna try to take him over here.
Or I see a lot of people with the dilemma of like, man, my commute takes me over here, but I want the kid in school over here or whatever. Like, how do we figure that out?
Or this school's more convenient because it's, I'm driving that way for whatever other reason. So there's a ton of benefit that I think a lot of people don't think about because they honestly don't realize that that's the case. So for me, I will say that I'm in this exact same situation. Like, I live in the Black Forest area. Wife and I aren't the hugest fan of exactly where our little guy would go. So he actually goes to a charter school, free of charge. That's another great thing about Colorado. Charter schools, all, publicly funded. So he goes to a charter school that's about 15, 20 minutes from our house. And we have to take him there. Got to go drive him there, pick him up and stuff. But we had that opportunity to make that choice to put him in a different school. Without really being concerned because we knew where we wanted to live. We really didn't think about the school system because we knew we could choice him in another school. So.
And for me personally, worked out great for me. I think it was from 06, 07, something like that. My dad ended up being deployed. It's just me, my mom, my brother at home. Mom's working full-time too. It's like, you know what? It'd be a little bit easier if we did this homeschool thing. We could put you into like an online program. We did that. And because of school choice, I still got to participate in all the sports.
Athletics,
all the school activities, like all the extracurricular school activities, all those things. And then like, as soon as I went back to public school, everything transferred over just fine. I made a seamless transition in.
That's cool,
It was awesome. So school choice, really, really big deal here. Number 5 reason, but maybe one of the biggest reasons.
I think it might be, right? To
raise a family here in Colorado
kiddos,
Springs.
Colorado Springs. All right, man. So, hey, thank you for listening to all those. Hopefully it was beneficial for you. As always, if you guys have any questions about this, just want some more info, if there's something we didn't hit on that you're curious about, call, text, email, hit us up in the comments. Just want to make sure you guys have all the info to make the best decision if you're thinking about a move to Colorado Springs.
See you.